When looking at the list of what are the top 10 sites in Bangkok, the Grand Palace comes out as the #1 site to visit. I did also read a travel blog where the writer was basically saying the crowds are horrific and seriously think about whether you want to visit. So, is the Grand Palace worth visiting? The most scenic way of travelling to the Grand Palace is along the Chao Phraya River. I took the BTS, the elevated railway or Sky Rail, to the Southern Pier. It's easy enough to follow the signs from the station to the pier. There's different boats that leave the pier. Ignore the organised tours and buy a ticket for the ferry to the Tha Chang Pier, which is the one for the Grand Palace. The ferry trip down the river is lovely and there are several stops before you approach the Grand Palace. Construction at the palace began in May 1782 when the king moved the capital to Bangkok. There are numerous buildings in the grounds, some built as recently as the 2000s. The king, the court and the royal government were based in the grounds of the palace until 1925, and the palace is still used for official events. The royals moved to another palace in 1925, and after the abolition of the absolute monarchy in 1932, the government agencies all moved out as well. You will need to do some preparations for entering the Grand Palace site. There is a dress code which is strictly enforced. You need to pass the dress code security before you can go through to buy an entrance ticket. I watched as people were stopped and refused entry, so the dress code is strictly enforced as a mark of respect for the site. Shoulders and knees must be covered. Just covering with a shawl isn't acceptable. I made sure to wear 3/4 length pants and a t-shirt with short sleeves. Some sites say that bare feet aren't acceptable and you need to wear socks with sandals. I just couldn't commit that fashion disaster, so I brought some socks with me to put on if I were asked, but it seems that that part of the dress code has been relaxed, so I walked in wearing sandals with no socks. Once past the dress code security, pay the 500 baht entrance fee and you're in. From the Tha Chang Pier, it states that it's a 3-minute walk to the Grand Palace. It was, but that's to the exit gate. The entrance gate was another 5 minutes away. Once inside, welcome to the crowd. I usually try not to film people when I visit different tourist sites, but there were just so many people, I gave up. Lots of aerial shots, but then the crowd. The Grand Palace is divided into 4 main courts, and the first one you enter is the Temple of the Emerald Buddha. This temple area is surrounded by a gallery, a covered corridor with a wall on one side. The walls tell the story of the Ramakien. There are 2 of these giant columns called stupas, built by King Rama I to commemorate his parents. There are supporting giants around the base. The building is the Ubosot, which houses the Emerald Buddha. It's surrounded by a low wall where you need to leave your shoes. Remember where you put them. There's no photography inside, and again, this is enforced by security. People can sit on the floor in front of the Buddha, and the walls are beautifully decorated with murals. The Ubosot was built to house the Emerald Buddha, which the king had captured from Vientiane, Laos in 1779. This building is the Phra Mondop, and it is the library which houses the sacred text. It wasn't open for people to enter. The outside is decorated in gold leaf, and a lot of it. Next to the library is the bell-shaped stupa, which houses the relics of the Buddha that were given to King Rama IV. The bell is made from bricks and decorated with gold tiles imported from Italy. The buildings in the Grand Palace complex are all stunning, but this one really appealed to me. I'll put its name up on the screen. It serves as a Buddha image hall. I just really like the porcelain decorations on the buildings. They're all in a floral design. The gates to enter and exit the Temple of the Emerald Buddha are guarded by yaksha, these huge statues. Once out of the Temple of the Emerald Buddha, you can find yourself in another part of the Grand Palace, the Middle Court, which has newer buildings, European design with a Thai roof. Follow the crowd to the exit, but just before you leave, I highly recommend you visit the Queen Sir Kit Textile Museum. There's no photography allowed, so I have no images, but I really liked seeing her fashion from the early 1960s to her later styles where she incorporated traditional Thai designs. To answer my question, is the Grand Palace in Bangkok worth visiting? I would say yes. Prepare yourself for the crowds. The buildings are all incredible, and it's a part of this big wide world that is certainly worth seeing.